In this video, I show how I built a custom tailgate table for my 2004 Jeep Liberty. So I picked up all these parts at Home Depot, including a 3/4 inch 24 by 36 inch solid pre-cut wood for the table, an angle aluminum bar for the trim, a single wire lug connector, some self-drilling screws, and then a continuous long hinge, as well as some stainless galvanized coated wire rope, and then finally the zinc sheet metal to put over the top. Okay, so the first thing I did was measured 15 inches from the top to the bottom of where the table would sit, and then I just made a rip cut straight across. Save that piece for later. You'll need that for the back of it. Then I just took the sheet metal and then just basically just measured it based on the width and the length of the wood plank. And then once I got my tin snips, I just made the cut straight across the sheet metal, and then took that sheet metal, placed it on top just to make sure everything lined up good. And then I took the angle bar and first just kind of measured it out, made sure where the line was so that I could make my cut, and then made sure everything lined up good. Once I had that, I just placed the sheet metal back on just to double check, make sure everything was fitting correctly, and then I made my cut with the tin snips. Once I had my cut completed, made sure everything was measured out and fit, then I just placed 3 holes across the bar, and I just drew those out. And then I took the bar and just placed it right on to the board itself over top of the sheet metal, and then made sure it fit. Once I had that figured out, then I just took a 1/2 inch drill bit and drilled the holes all the way down from the top to the bottom of the angle bar. And here you can see the holes. It's aluminum, so it's a softer metal, but you still have to put a little pressure on it to get the holes through there. Once I had that completed, then I just go ahead and make sure everything was lined up properly along the table. Next, I took the 1/2 inch self-drilling screws, and then I just placed them in each of the holes along the table edge. I put 5 screws in along the edge, and that seemed to keep the angle bar on there solid, and everything was stable. Continuing with the process, I secured the angle bar on the other side as well, using the self-drilling screws to attach it to the table. Next, I took the hinge and placed it flush along the backside of the table and used the self-drilling screws to attach it. I only used 4 or 5 screws. I found that if you used all of the holes, the actual metal piece began to warp. So I used these electrical splicing connectors as a way to strengthen the hold of the galvanized rope once it was attached to the lug connector. So you can see here I took apart the middle piece and then used that piece to attach to the end of the galvanized rope. First by placing the rope through the lug connector like this, and then taking that metal piece and crimping it down on the edge of the actual wire rope. And then I felt that if the weight of the table became too heavy, that you'd have a little bit better chance of the wire not slipping out of the lug connector, so it gave it a little bit more strength. The actual length of the galvanized rope itself, I measured out 21 inches and then cut it from there, and then placed the lug connectors at the very end of the rope. And then those ropes were on either side of the actual table, drilled into the back of the tailgate. Okay, so to attach the table to the door, I used the spare piece of board that I cut earlier and attached it on the inside of this bump here, and just above the bottom of the door with 6 2-inch self-drilling metal screws, as you can see here. Once that was done, then I was able to attach the hinge on the bottom of that to the actual piece of wood. And then taking the galvanized rope that was attached to the table and then drill it into the back of the table, or I'm sorry, the tailgate. You can see here that it goes right through the plastic and into the metal of the door itself. And then once that was complete, that was pretty much it. I used some black paint to paint the wood portion just to help it blend in a little bit better. And then I also took a clip that I just got off of a backpack actually, and then clipped that on to hold the table in place. So that was it. Hope you liked the video. Hope it was helpful. Leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to help you. Thanks.